Again, all Scripture are for our education and correction. Are we going to listen and learn from those Scriptures? Just before Israel was to cross the Jordan into the Promised Land, we read in Numbers how Israel was joined to Baal Peor. Although Balaam could not curse Israel, he did counsel King Balak on how he might get the upper hand over Israel, because Balaam desperately wanted to receive the rewards Balak was offering. This is recounted in the following scripture, Revelation 2:14. But I have a few things against you, because you have there those who hold to the teachings of Balaam, who taught Balak to cast a stumbling block before the sons of Israel, to eat things sacrificed to idols, and to commit fornication. What does eating have to do with fornication? When you understand the rituals involved in this worship of Peor, then you will understand this statement. The worship of Baal Peor involved the most perverted acts between the temple prostitutes and Baal devotees, all done for a profit. The rituals specifically designed to debase the devotees involved the exposure of the prostitutes' genitalia and their direct oral exchange of body fluids and waste products. In these rituals, the prostitutes assumed a dominatrix, donor role, and the men the submissive receptor role. The rituals in establishing the power of the feminine over the masculine worked to invert the normative Hebrew social structure from patriarchal to matriarchal, and the arrestment of the development of men in the stage of irresponsible boys instead of maturing them into men of principle. What was the stumbling block that Balaam offered to King Balak? It was the worship of Baal Peor. After Balaam departed from Moab, we see the ramifications of his instruction as Israel joined itself to Baal Peor. Now Israel remained in Acacia Grove, and the people began to commit harlotry with the women of Moab. They invited the people to the sacrifices of their gods, and the people ate and bowed down to their gods. So Israel was joined to Baal Peor, and the anger of the Lord was aroused against Israel. Numbers 25, 1-3. Knowing what the sin of Peor was, is it any wonder that due to the sin of Peor, Israel was judged by a plague that killed 24,000? Look, these women caused the children of Israel, through the counsel of Balaam, to trespass against the Lord in the incident of Peor, and there was a plague among the congregation of the Lord. Numbers 31:16. Because he taught the enemies of Israel how to ensnare them in this sin, Israel later killed Balaam, Joshua 13:22, who became an object lesson of a false prophet. They have forsaken the right way and gone astray, following the way of Balaam, the son of Beor, who loved the wages of unrighteousness. 2 Peter 2:15. Woe to them, for they have gone the way of Cain, and have run greedily in the error of Balaam for profit, and perished in the rebellion of Korah. Jude 1:11. The Lord himself gives his perspective of the incident of Peor through Hosea in chapter 9 and verse 10. I found Israel like grapes in the wilderness. I saw your forefathers as the earliest fruit of the fig tree in its first season. But they came to Baal Peor and devoted themselves to shame, and they became as detestable as that which they loved. Baal Peor literally means Lord of the open hole. Regardless of the purpose for which God designed the different parts of the body, Baal Peor's devotees relished in using every opening for sexual gratification, and thus he was the god of anal and oral sex. The practice of its perversion involved men, women, and even children and animals. This is what Baal Peor worship is. Anyone can easily see that the worship of Baal Peor exists today, not only in the porn industry, but all across what's called the entertainment industry. We have musicians that sing about the acts of Baal Peor that regularly make it to the top of the popularity charts. There are at least 25 #1 songs since 1972 that promote oral and anal sex, songs that your own children have memorized, sometimes without knowing what they mean.
You spin my head right round, right
so-called artists like this are nothing more than modern-day Baal Peor temple prostitutes who glorify the use of every orifice for lascivious gratification, evoking the audience to worship of Baal Peor.